This world has become a strange hell filled with monsters invulnerable to ordinary weapons. The only hope for humanity is a select few with superpowers. The strongest among them was our MC, K. But even he is not almighty, and when he was betrayed by an organization and trapped with dozens of monsters, he died. Fortunately, he regressed back in time to before the apocalypse. He was reborn in the body of a baby, retaining his knowledge of monsters and his main power, which allows him to absorb the powers and abilities of the monsters he kills. After looking around more carefully, he realizes that he has somehow become a baby. As he's trying to figure out what in the world is going on, a slippered foot walks into his room. K immediately goes on alert, backing into the corner of his crib as the strange person looms over him. His mind swims with different thoughts as he tries to figure out who this person is and if they are from the organization. But then the woman leans down with a loving look on her face and greets him as A-chan. It looks like this strange woman is his mother, and she came to check on him once she realized that he was awake. The woman goes back to cooking once she realizes that he's all right, and Kei, who's now A-chan, takes a moment to look around. Everything looks peaceful and clean, unlike the world that he's used to. The TV is on and he can hear people moving around outside the house. It also doesn't look like there are any monsters outside. This is clearly an era of peace, and for him to suddenly find himself here as a baby, that means that he must have gotten reincarnated. He is now in another world where the catastrophe didn't happen, and more importantly, there's no organization here. That means, for the first time in a truly long time, A-chan is going to have a taste of freedom. Despite everything he has gone through in his life, the god of fate hasn't abandoned him. This day will always be remembered as the day of new beginnings. He takes a look at the nearest calendar and sees that the year is 2020, meaning that he woke up before the great catastrophe. That's not good since he can't do anything with his current baby body. He can't even stand up without holding something, and his little limbs are too small to support his body. His throat also feels strange compared to his older body, so he can't talk either. All of that is terrible news for him since time is of the essence. There's no time for him to just be a normal baby when the world is about to enter the apocalypse. A-chan looks towards his mother and wonders if she is someone he can rely on. Instead of relying on her, though, maybe he can just use her like a puppet to achieve his goals. She has to be good for something. Even if she doesn't look too reliable, she's the only adult that he can get access to. He wonders if she is at least flexible, but several boxes falling from the shelf is enough to disprove that. She isn't good with her hands either, as she piles an impossible high amount of flour into a bowl while cooking. Neither is she good at cooking, and she almost burns down the house while trying to make breakfast. It's obvious that she can't do anything, but she at least tries her best to take care of her baby, even with her hair roasted by the fire she caused earlier. It already feels like the end of the world, and the future of his new life looks rough. The doorbell rings, and his mother goes to answer the door and receive a package that just recently came in. Before she opens the door, though, she has to find her wallet so she can pay for the delivery. As she leaves to find her wallet, A-chan tries to remember the last time he has heard that word. The last time he remembered hearing about packages was when delivery workers took packages to meet a lot of people. Those delivery workers also happened to be infected, and it ended up being a terrifying situation. As he starts to realize the situation and what that package delivery might really mean, the door slowly opens, and a ghoulish voice comes in from the other side, urging him to take the package. As the door fully opens, it's just as A-chan predicted. The person on the other side is infected, and they have turned into a delivery monster. A-chan can't be scared, and even with his baby body, he has to find something to use to defend himself. The only thing available to him is the baby bottle that his mother gave him, and a pillow as well. He grabs the pillow and throws it on the ground, when suddenly the monster launches an attack straight at his head. The powerful blast cuts through the crib, and A-chan grabs his bottle before making a quick escape out of the crib, and landing on the pillow that he threw to the ground earlier. It doesn't have to be said that if a blast like that touches him, then he's definitely dead. Luckily, he has enough experience with fighting monsters from his past life, and from that experience, he knows that there's no way he can beat his current opponent. It looks like an amplified monster, and on top of that, the tentacles on its head look even more dangerous. But another thing he knows is that strong monsters like these are terrible at making tight turns. He tosses his bottle lightly under the monsters and it trips on it while rushing towards him, flying over his head and crashing through the window. For the first time ever, A-chan is actually grateful for all the brutal battles that he went through in his past life. As he's celebrating his victory, a tail sprouts out from his back and rushes out the window after the monster. It reaches the dead body laying on the street and eats up the monster core like a living being. A-chan grabs the tail and looks at it as it munches on the monster core. He's familiar with it, since this is the ability he had in his previous life, the Tail of Toady. It's a powerful ability, but he has no idea why he still has it even after reincarnating. The Great Catastrophe is set to happen 4 years in the future, and Kei in his past life was born 3 years after that. He doesn't know what's going on, but he's incredibly lucky to get this ability out of nowhere. In his past life, he got the ability after absorbing the core of a monster that also had the coyote tail. Another fortunate thing is that the younger someone activates their power, the stronger it will turn out to be. To test it out, he turns his hand into a sharp blade and uses it to strike his crib, bending it instantly. In his past life, he awakened as an S-class when he was 7, but since he has this power as an infant, then he will become the legendary triple S rank this time. This is his ticket to riches, fame, and beautiful women. In that case, he doesn't need to stick around in this house and play the role of a clueless baby. As he crawls away to start his new life, the crib that he bent earlier starts to fall, and its aim is right on top of him. Achan tries to move out of the way, but his body gives up on him, and he's left unable to move. The metal crib eventually cracks and starts to fall to the side, and the last thing he sees as his eyes close is his mother desperately rushing to his side as the crib falls. He remembers his past life and his ruthless master that put him through many horrible trials. The man made him do disgusting things like eating dog food to survive. Things like that were to prove that he really is just the organization's dog. Achan grits his teeth, angry at the fact that he is referred to as the organization's dog. He wakes up slowly as the sun starts to shine on his face. It looks like he blacked out after defeating the monster. He slowly pushes himself up and sees his mother sitting close by and writing in a book. It looks like she managed to save him after all. But now the question is why he passed out in the first place. It looks like the power of his ability is too much for his body. He only used it for 30 seconds, and yet, it completely wore him out and left him completely defenseless. For now, he needs to get stronger if he wants to be able to handle his powers again. As he's thinking about that, he hears the sounds of his mother crying. He takes a look at the book that she's reading and it's covered sticky notes. On the page, she writes about how she almost lost her treasure. It seems like she's talking about him. There's also a nasty bruise on her back, and it's likely that she got the bruise from protecting him. His mother from his past life would have happily sold him to the organization for a quick profit, and yet this woman risked herself to protect him. He reaches one of his tiny hands to comfort her, and as soon as she feels him touching her, she reaches over and grabs him in a tight hug. It looks like this woman is different from her, and that makes him decide to stay with her for a while. Regardless, there's still not a lot of time, and the world will change in less than a week. The next monster should already be on its way, and he needs to be able to fight for more than 30 seconds if he wants to protect his new home. Outside their apartment, a window cleaner shivers in pain as blue slime seeps out of his eyes, mouth, and nose. The blue slime slips down and enters the drain pipes below him, on its way to somewhere specific. As Achan is considering his next steps, his mother brings something over to him covered in a red blanket. She removes the blanket to reveal a dog inside a cage for him. She got the dog from their neighbor so that he can have a companion. Achan remembers the dog from his past life. It was a fierce mutt, and he never thought he would see it again in this life. On top of that, the dog is way too big to be a baby's playmate. However, this might turn out to be a good thing for Achan. His mother might be a bit ditzy, but it looks like she can be useful sometimes after all. If he trains the dog right, then it can end up becoming a strong ally, and it can even grow into a means of transportation. Having a big dog might not be so bad after all. His mother smiles at the little grin on his face. It looks like she made the right decision, and it at least made him happy. She leaves the two of them to play while she goes to do some more chores around the house. Achan stares the dog down as he wonders what he's going to do with it. For now, he's going to need to feed it first. He gives the dog a sausage from the kitchen and orders it to eat. If he eats it, then Achan will become its master, and the training can begin. Despite the baby's attempt at forming a contract with the dog, it seems like it's too simple-minded to understand what they are doing. As the dog bends down to pick up the sausage, Achan stomps on his head, showing off the difference in their power dynamic. However, even though the dog doesn't understand what the baby is saying, that doesn't mean that it'll tolerate disrespect. It punches Achan with two well-placed paws to the face, sending the baby flying. Then it turns away to enjoy its sausage in peace, but the baby isn't going to take that laying down. Achan leaps up to attack the dog with a loud battle cry. He pounces on the dog, and the two of them fight it out while the mother laughs at their antics. It looks like the two of them have already become friends. As she's cooking, she realizes that she's out of flour. When she bends down to try and find it though, a blue slime monster comes up from the sink and towers over the fighting dog and baby, aiming directly for the oblivious woman who is still trying to find some new flour to use and cook. The slime monster lifts into the air and aims directly for Achan's mother. The dog springs into action and rushes to go for the monster before it can hurt her. It gets there just in time to push her into the sink cupboard before the slime can attack her. Thankfully, the mother doesn't know what's going on, while the slime and the dog fight behind her. Achan watches the whole thing happen with an unimpressed look on his face. The monster is way too weak to cause any real problems, but it'll still be troublesome to deal with. Its liquid makes slashing and